From late 80s child prodigy to genre-shattering veteran professional, Danny Way has progressed what was possible on a skateboard for his entire 30-plus year career. In this never-before-released interview from 2012, he discusses what drives him to be Danny Way and try to hit every topic that skate nerds like myself would be dying to know. This interview was just prior to the Melbourne premiere of his documentary Waiting for Lightning, chronicling his life story. I can't recommend the documentary enough, and if you check out the enhanced video version of this episode, you'll catch a bunch of footage from the film. A link to both the YouTube video version of this episode and the Waiting for Lightning film are in this episode's show notes. As it was actually recorded in a giant room for a magazine interview, the sound quality isn't the best at times, but it's a great in-depth chat with a true icon of skateboarding. I am Steele Saunders, and this is Manchester Lane Radio, the podcast of The Shore Store Melbourne. All right, Danny, thank you for spending some time with us. It's quite an honour.
Likewise.
Thank you very much. So you're on a bit of a worldwide tour pretty much of people expressing their love for you.
Yeah, I don't think that's the intention. It's well appreciated, and I don't take any of that for granted.
I know just in Melbourne, the skaters that after tickets and are going are just, you know, they're so amped for it.
Well, that really makes me feel good inside that, you know, after all this time that I still have some relevance in skateboarding. You know, much appreciation for my, you know, all the people that have supported me for this long. But, you know, the movie wasn't about trying to get, you know, rekindling the past to try and re-glorify anything, but actually maybe the opposite, more so to try to de-glorify some of the things and show that, you know, the other side of some of the, show the downside to all the upside.
Yeah.
The yin and the yang and everything. So, you know, it wouldn't be a real story if it didn't show the both sides of the coin.
I think when you say about the relevance and not celebrating the past, but I think one of the things that people are most excited about is to see the end, like the ramp in Hawaii. So I don't think you've got any.
Well, you know, that I again, you know, that to me is the most for myself is also like the part that I am most content with, and I'm not that content with it because I didn't really have much time to shoot it all. I'm actually heading straight from here back to Hawaii to continue filming. You know, the final cut of this movie, when it comes out, will have more footage in it than anybody saw at the premieres.
Oh, okay, great.
So I'm kind of in the midst of filming this part right now.
Yeah.
You know, I know I have until September till the final deadline for this segment, but you know, I got what I needed to get done in the time that I had to do it.
And is there some surprises tomorrow night compared to what's in the Thrasher magazine, or?
You know, I think the Thrasher magazine covers, you know, what I could do in 3 days of filming.
Yeah.
Again, you know, like the part at the end is you know, me paying homage back to the skate community, which I wouldn't put a film out unless I could do so. But this film wasn't about skateboarding. You know, this film was about more than skateboarding. So
yeah,
obviously my pure passion and love for the skate community, I couldn't, you know, put out a bunch of retro footage and not have anything exciting and new at the end. It wouldn't really serve me and or anybody else that follows me for my skateboarding.
You've seen the film like at a few premieres now?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there any bit of the film, whether it's embarrassing or painful, do you cringe at when it comes up?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of, you know, darkness in the film that I've had to endure. So, like, you know, for some people, it's a story that they can look at and they could probably understand. And some people might be able to relate because they've gone through the same things. But some of it, you know, is a little bit, you know, it gets me a little, it hits home sometimes because it just reminds me of some of the things that have happened over the years. And, you know, it's easy to suppress things and forget about them, but the movie's kind of a direct reminder to me of my past, and not all of it was pretty.
Yeah. So it's pretty honest, like...
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, in an hour and a half film, you can only be so honest, and you can only tell so much of a story. There's so much minutia in all of this in each little story that, you know, it becomes a real game of chess, picking and choosing the right things to put in there when there's an abundance of things to choose from.
Yeah.
So I think it's, you know, in an hour and a half, I think we told a pretty good story. And, you know, if I had, you know, everyone's attention for longer, I'm sure I could have told you guys more, but I wouldn't want to bore anyone's ears and eyes for any much longer.
I dare say it won't be boring. I think it was maybe about a year ago you had the 20 years of Danny Way with sort of like since Shackle Me Not.
Yes.
Which when that website came up, I was like, oh, that is awesome. You know, such a good trip down memory lane. And then to go, fuck, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, did that hit you?
It's constantly hitting me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that's the other thing when I watch the film. There's also footage in there when I was younger that nobody's ever seen before when I'm real young. So it's like to see, I mean, go down memory lane and to look back that far and go, wow, that's that long ago and I'm still doing this. And like, you know, other than, you know, growing up, you know, and becoming an adult and a dad and becoming responsible and all these things are still a part of my personality that feels just like it did when I was a kid. So
yeah.
It's hard looking in the mirror and seeing myself now and then looking at the video footage and going, damn, I kind of have the same mentality and feel the same to some extent. But look at how I was a kid then.
Yeah.
It's just weird. You know, a lot of times come by.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a skateboarder thing. Like, I know when a parent says, watch out for the man, and you go, oh, where's the... Oh, it's me. You're sort of still a little kid in your head. I'm not sure if that's just through skateboarding or...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why a lot of us, you know, loves skateboarding. It, to some extent, it can make you feel timeless, you know?
Yeah.
I think being a musician kind of gives you the same ability. But I think skateboarding's, you know, there's some guys out there that have, you know, give me a lot of inspiration to keep going, that's for sure.
Yeah, skateboarding has a habit of telling you that you're getting old as well.
Dave Duncan, still charging.
Going back, when did you realise that you were good at skateboarding? You know, the first few days that you started skateboarding, was it immediately good or did you like...
No way, man. I mean, I you know, you'll see in this film, I have some old footage when I was probably like 12 and 13. And there was like a period between 13 and 14 that like, I feel like something clicked.
Yeah.
I went from like, you know, being somewhat sketchy, didn't have that clean of a style, and I wasn't that consistent. And then I remember like one day, I remember the specific session where I got like errors every time. And then I could tell they started getting easier and easier, and then I could start grabbing whatever way. And from that point on, it seemed like there was like this crazy acceleration of learning just because I learned how to, you know, do errors, you know.
Yeah.
And I got comfortable doing it.
And I know you sort of, some of your early years was at Del Mar. What is sort of your memories from like rocking up there and having, you know, the 80s superstars?
I mean, those are some of my most nostalgic memories I have of skateboarding, I think, is that time period and or those memories from those sessions. I got to see those contests at Del Mar Keyhole where Tony and Christian got to go head to head, and you know there was like 3 contests in a row each year there that I went to, and I remember they're pretty historical events. But that was like, you know, that was the hub or the epicenter of what was happening in skateboarding at that time, and I was just lucky enough to be in that community that I was close to it, to be able to catch a little bit of that, you know, that energy before it went away. And that's kind of what infected me when I went there and I saw that, you know, to hear, you know, wheels, you know, to hear the wheels barking on concrete and trucks grinding pool coping and just all the noise and shit it makes when you skate concrete.
Yeah.
Just like as a kid, it was just so like, wow, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. It's like when, like in the 90s when you couldn't get any of the music from skate videos, and so you just bootleg them off. Like we just taped them off the thing, like off Plan B and all that. And then when you actually got the CD, it was so weird to hear it without the grind noises. Oh, shit. They sort of became part of the song. Shit. And so then when you'd hear it without like the woo or so you're like, something missing in this.
Yeah, becomes part of the mix.
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I think, you know, when it went from pool skating to ramp skating, there was definitely something lost there. I was already addicted to skateboarding, so it wasn't the same, but I don't know if I would have been as intrigued by it if it wasn't as raw as it was when I first saw it. The equipment was so, fucking minuscule. Like there was nothing protecting anybody.
Yeah, the old like Haro ones and stuff, and it was just like
Even before then,
Yeah.
it was like those are good pads. That was when they started making pads for skating. I'm talking like the late 70s.
like the real rainbowy suspender ones. Yeah.
Started going to Del Mar. That's what guys were still wearing.
Yeah. Can-
Just right when they started to wear plastic caps, So, anyways, it just seemed a lot gnarlier than it did. Once guys like Kevin Staub started strapping mattresses and couches to his legs and shit. And, skating on ramps that were smooth and quiet, and just looked, I don't know, kind of took the edge out of the whole.
Yeah. And when you were younger, like, was it hard to prove that you weren't sort of like a novelty? Because I remember just seeing it's like, oh, this little kid won an Add-A-Trick comp, or is that like something that you're sort of to be taken seriously with those pros that had been around for so long?
I grew up at Del Mar, so I don't think that, some of them started to take me serious as I started to progress. But at that point when I won that, the Add-A-Trick contest or whatever you're talking about there, but I was already like, I'd already been in the PAL video at that like public domain had just come out, and like, so I was pretty established as a respected amateur skateboarder.
Yeah.
But I don't think that, I don't think there was too many people that were hating on me other than maybe one guy that day after that whole event.
And how nostalgic are you for those days? Like, do you keep stuff?
I don't think I kept everything over the years. I don't have a lot of my trophies and stuff like that because I don't really think those things symbolize much. But I do have my first trophy I ever won, and it was at Del Mar Skate Park in the Keyhole, and that was my first contest ever too. But I have that trophy, which is cool to me.
Yeah.
But I have like my Skater of the Year awards and a few other things. But for the most part, a lot of the times I gave my trophies away at contests to kids and shit.
Before like Mullen and Mike V did it, you were the first dude to sort of to leave Peralta of their own will, pretty much.
Yeah.
Were people just like shaking their head, just like, what are you doing?
I think so. I think people thought I didn't know what I was doing,
Yeah.
And I probably didn't for the most part, other than I felt like where I was at, I was like I was in a pool, a pond of many tadpoles, versus when I had the opportunity to ride for 8th Street, it was like, getting the attention and spotlight on what I needed to do was so attractive for me at that time because I felt like I had such minimal resources and such a hunger to want to do so much. So it boiled down to me, the real decision came to me when, I just realized that if I didn't make this move, I might be suppressed so much I might not ever be able to get a shot at what I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
So it's like I didn't really care so much about the making it or breaking it of 8th Street more so than just having an opportunity to get some support to go to the next level. Whatever happened at that point happened, but I couldn't really get further without getting certain things like plane tickets to certain events or, so I was like at that cusp where I needed that little bit more to get to the next level, and they weren't giving it to me.
Yeah. I know when you did that, we were sort of, as kids, just like, oh, that Hate Street must be the shit.
Hensley was a kid, another friend I grew up skating with from my hometown. And, before 8th Street, Matt didn't have much of a reputation. It's 8th Street that really put him on the map. So, when we started 8th Street, I had somewhat of a bigger name than Matt. But, as soon as we launched the 8th Street video, like Matt became the biggest skateboarder overnight in the history of skateboarding. And then all of a sudden I was like the small guy on the team, which is cool because it was my buddy. But it was like, but no, I don't think any of us anticipated 8th Street becoming what it was. That's what I think was so cool about it, is it was like kind of an organic thing. It didn't really, I don't think we set out to accomplish what we accomplished. It just kind of transpired and it evolved as it went. And
was it weird with Matt? Obviously, start of the 90s, everyone dressed like Matt Hensley.
Yeah.
Was it weird to travel the world and go, everyone's dressed like my friend?
No shit, because I'd known him. I grew up in the same town, so the chain wallet and fucking cutting off his shoes and spray painting his shoes, whatever. That was like standard issue Hensley stuff for a while. Like that was like he was always punk rock. He was punk rock in middle school. He was wearing circle jerk shirts and Sex Pistols and getting kicked out of school for it and ditching school to smoke cigarettes or whatever. So Hensley was always kind of that dude. But yeah, to see how much his image infected the rest of the world once he became famous for skateboarding, I don't know if there's been another skateboarder since him that has had that much of an influence on the skate culture for one specific thing. Soy's obviously had his influence, just being like, carrying himself like a rock star in the skateboard community, and obviously other people have followed that model, and it's worked for some. Hensley was never that guy that wanted to be a rock star. He wanted to be the dude that nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
But he hated. I mean, I think that's what drove him away from skateboarding, was that fact that he became that guy.
Yeah, I remember just going to comps and that, and it's just like
he didn't want to.
20 Matt Hensleys, like
he didn't want to go, man.
Yeah. I think the closest that that's come to is like Tom Penny, like later on, that was like a worldwide.
But there's like, Matt had the chain wallet, the signature thing.
Yeah.
Like his signature look, it was, I mean, Penny didn't have like the one thing.
Yeah. And the chain wallet sort of became a pop culture phenomenon that sort of can be drawn back to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was his, I don't think at the time Hensley blew up, he wasn't the only one in our little skate community that was rocking a chain wallet. It was like a few of the guys, like Steve Ortega was running them. And but it was just our crew, but Hensley was, I think, the guy that got it going.
When you were sort of like just coming up and like being a teenager and being quite the phenomenon, is there advice that you've learned through that you pass on to like sort of the equivalent on your team now is Ryan Sheckler to how to deal with it?
Well, I mean, Ryan has a lot of good people in his life helping him manage his things, obviously. But if there's opportunity to lend, some insight or experience or knowledge to anything that I can, if these guys need any help with anything, of course I'm there for them. But, I do what I can, but everybody's, to some extent has to find their way. It's hard to mentor somebody unless they really want to be mentored. So obviously I'm there if the guys need it, and I definitely try and mentor, a global feeling, in these guys about how, a skateboarding team should be and operate, and, what makes it successful and what doesn't, and what makes each of the guys successful as a professional skateboarder.
Is there any advice that you think you should have given, like Jeremy Rogers or Brian Wenning, who sort of seemed to...
I mean, Brian Wenning's one of the greatest skateboarders of all time, and he's one of the greatest guys, man.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that struggle with the same thing. It's just, it's not everyone's cut out to be focused on a career in skateboarding.
Yeah.
Some people might love it and love it to the point where they get that good at it, and the opportunity presents itself and they take advantage of it and realize that they're not really in love with the other part of it.
Yeah.
So I think a guy like Wenning, might be that kind of guy that, his priorities aren't skateboarding, although he has fucking tons of love for it.
Yeah.
He's good at it. He just doesn't care that much about it being a career.
Yeah.
So, and, as far as Jeremy Rogers goes, if there any advice I could give him, he said, I told him to not come out with the music shit, man. I told him to hold off. He came to we had the Plan B team house going, and I built a studio in the house, and then all the guys on the team started getting in, like making tracks just for fun, And then Jeremy just got super serious on the rap in the house, and then all of a sudden, like, he's like, I got this record deal, like, we're skating, and it all happened, I think, it transpired from the Plan B team house. So if there's any advice I would give him, like, should have listened. It's not come out of music.
Yeah.
I'm not, no disrespect to his passion for that, but I'm just saying, like, to start doing something and then 6 months later release something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it'd be like Lil Wayne putting out a skate video part, the new Transworld video.
Yeah. It'd be exactly like that, actually.
Hey you guys, I hope you're enjoying our chat with Danny Way. We're at about the half-point mark, so plenty to come. I just wanted to let you know that while you listen, maybe go to theshorestore.com and do a bit of virtual window shopping. We have currently got an end-of-season clearance going With our previous season's prints going out the door $29.95 for Shore t-shirts and $49.95 for Shore fleece. And there's a few other little treats in there as well. And every order over $100 gets free shipping Australia-wide and also receives our special COVID care pack free of charge, which consists of a complimentary Shore t-shirt, 2 pairs of socks, and a Goodworth pin. The link to the sale items are in this episode's show notes, but whenever you are up for new clothing or sneakers, swing past theshorestore.com and see if there's anything that strikes your fancy. We would really appreciate your business. Thanks so much, and now back to Danny Way.
In the older videos, like you seemed, what I gather, and we'll probably find out in the film, that you lived a pretty unsupervised, like teenage. Yeah. Do you think that directly affected your skating, like not having boundaries at home that didn't have boundaries in your skateboarding?
I think it made me more reckless on my skateboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
The repercussions of the recklessness off the skateboard weren't always the greatest.
Yeah.
But I think the general mentality just played all the way through the whole style. It wasn't like, okay, I'm going to go skateboarding now, I'm going to be reckless. I think it was just like, we were just young and unsupervised.
Yeah.
Had freedom and resources to get into trouble. But when applied to the skateboarding, it was always
amazing. Yeah. I read an interview with Mike Viale recently that he did about, and he sort of mentioned the Plan B video got questionable, and just how when that came out, he felt, and I guess skateboarding was sort of like that, ostracized because it was all about hard progression and everything else was sort of forgotten, whereas now it's so much more inclusive. Was that your internal thought, like, oh, if you're not keeping up, we sort of like you, we don't want you to be a part of skateboarding? Like, because that was definitely the mentality of skateboarding, like 91, like it was just hard progression.
Well, I just think it's whatever people are interested in, to each and own. There's no right or wrong in skateboarding. But if the consumers or the people that buy products in skateboarding are attracted to that mentality of skateboarding, nobody can control that. It's not my fault. It's nobody's wrong for feeding that either. If the guys that don't want to progress, don't want to keep up with that, and don't want to feed that, then don't. Nobody cares. Like, Mike V wants to do whatever he wants. Great. It's not about not having a place for anybody in skateboarding, and nobody can, dictate what the fans want or the people consuming this stuff want either. I don't do it for any other reason. I do what I do for the pure passion and love for what I do. I don't do it for anybody else, and if what I do serves other people, then great. If not, I'll be like Mike B, but whatever,
Yeah.
I think it's to each own. There's no right or wrong in skateboarding, and there's, I don't think there's
Yeah, I think back then there was a perceived right or like. Yeah,
well,
definitely.
Maybe in the insecure mind of somebody that probably was looking around going, I'm wondering if I can keep up with this or not.
Yeah.
Maybe the insecure minds started to try and make that a focal point. Other than accepting progression was happening beyond the ability of some people,
Yeah.
You can't stop progression, and you can't stop people's interest for feeding that,
Yeah. Did you have any sort of something that came out new in skateboarding that when it hit you, you were just like, fuck, I can't do it?
I don't, there's always, it depends what you're talking about. I guess at different increment or different bench or places in my career, I might have been like, "Whoa, that's nuts." But I think you get to a point where it's kind of falls back to what I was saying. Like, I don't really skate for anybody else. I'm not like looking at other people's progression and going, "Oh, okay, that's what I got to do to be better."
Yeah,
that's like the last thing I want to do. Is I try and not, I skate with a few of my friends and we inspire each other, but for the most part, I feel like the stuff that we're doing is kind of in the genre of skateboarding that we're in. we're trying to keep on the forefront of that, you know. So there's not really much, you know. I don't know. Like, thank God I'm not a street skater in this era right now, because that would be a scary world to be in.
Yeah.
It's nice to be in a place in skateboarding that's unique, you know.
Yeah.
Although I appreciate all aspects of skateboarding, I'm glad my skill set isn't just street, because that's a hard, you know. Yeah, I'd be afraid after watching Nigel's new video part.
Yeah. When you did the DC ramp with the helicopter and the world record air, and I think maybe the way I introduced that is part of the question. It seemed like you were frustrated that the helicopter was such the focal point and the air was a bit of like the way people remember it. Is that?
Yeah.
Because it seemed like to you the air was the achievement.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't set out to do that day. I set out to do a high air. It wasn't about jumping off a helicopter. So if that wasn't as rewarding to me internally, because I didn't really care. That was just a little side show to the main reason why that all went down. So, you know, it was cool and it was fun. It was, you know, obscure, but in the end of the day, it had no real relevance to skateboarding. So I was way more gratified with doing a high backside air that day than I was jumping off a helicopter. But I was definitely into the helicopter thing. It was fun. It was, you know, and it was interesting. I took a beating trying it. It was rewarding to make it on that level. But of course, I would much rather contribute to, the things in skateboarding that are actually skateboard grounded, you know?
Yeah. When you actually jumped out, did you get pushed down? Like, could you feel?
I don't know. I was watching in this film. You'll see there's a couple takes of it, but I didn't remember how many slams I took that day. But I guess I took quite a bit. They have like a bunch of them in a row, but I had a couple that I hit the bottom, hit my face, and had pretty hard. But yeah, it was pretty abusive actually.
Yeah, I know, but could you feel the helicopter, like the blades?
Yeah, you could feel it. You could see one. You could see where it just like slams me into the ground.
Oh,
but I don't know. Again, it's not. that isn't that important to me in the big picture of my skateboard.
Yeah. And is that something I sort of like? I watched a few interviews with you last night, and I got the same feeling about the hard rock thing as well, where you're sort of just like,
it's whatever, you know.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun to do that kind of thing, you know. When I get a chance to do it, it's obscure. It's always fun to experiment with stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, I'd much rather like put out, you know, a video part that people that that skateboarding and people that care about skateboarding would appreciate more than jumping off a big spectacle in Vegas so that a crowd walking by can go, who the fuck's that dog? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm down to do shit like that because there's more to it than, you know, obviously it's like there's a bigger picture to doing some of those things than just skateboarding sometimes.
What's like one of the things that stands out in your mind that maybe was like so hard to you that sort of people like you was like, oh, are you serious? That was so fucking hard. Like, how come that wasn't like a trick or something that maybe like, you know, how much more effort that took than something that's maybe a little bit more visually stunning?
Well, I mean, there's, you know, tons of things I think in some of the video parts that I've made that I could say that took me fucking 10 times longer than that. Yeah. But what you wouldn't be able to, you know, unless I pointed it out, you probably never know. But yeah. I mean, damn, it's hard to say what versus what, but I think the most, I don't know. I mean, I think the most gratifying thing I know what that is. There's one thing I've done that I'm definitely sure that was most gratifying feeling, was 360 flip over the.
Oh, I was going to ask you for the cover of Translate. Yeah,
probably is the most extraordinary feeling I've had skateboarding. Yeah.
How long was that?
How long ago?
Well, I know, like how long? How like was that like days or was that?
I did it in one day, but I wanted to do it again. I wanted to film it a different way. Yeah. I came back and I couldn't do it again. Like I couldn't fucking for the life of me. But the first day I did it, I had a couple where I landed and rolled and fell off. But I had it one day that was like, it's at Bob's house too. So, you know, I don't like to go out there and film too much. Because
that was definitely one of the things that when I saw it, I was like, fuck, it's It's a tray flip over a 50-foot gap.
Yeah, it's when I go to it's Bob's house, so it's like I don't like to bring a film crew every time I go there. So try and capitalize on the days that I do.
Like with the mega ramp and all that sort of stuff, it's pretty gnarly, like the drop and stuff. Like, do you think about dying skateboarding? Is it like
Staples? I mean, the stuff that's happened at the X Games with Jake, and then I took that other slam a couple of years ago. There's no doubt that something catastrophic could happen in there. I think we yet to see the worst for sure. If that's all, I think what's happened already has been a miracle as far as Jake and myself in both those situations not being substantially hurt. But I think it's been, a miracle that nothing else of any kind's happened. I mean, there was that one Brazilian, what's his name, Bovo. He was rolling down the roll-in at X Games last summer, I think, and he kind of wobbled out and looped out before the jump. And luckily, he just jumped off the top of it and to the ground. But no, I haven't seen that go down yet. But a major loop out off the takeoff to the right or to the left off that thing would be pretty ugly. I've seen the landing.
Were you there for Jake's slam?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was not to that you conceived the ramp and the event and seeing your friend down there? Was that a long 10 seconds?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, any one of your friends that you see get hurt like that is pretty crazy. But I was up on the top of the ramp, and it takes so long to get down to the bottom from that point inside that building. So I didn't see him until he got outside. But that was an intense moment for sure. I don't know if anyone thought he was going to walk away or wake up from that. So those things puts it back in perspective. Obviously, there's so much risk being taken all the time, and it's just you get comfortable in that zone. So it's like people don't think about stuff like that happening until it does, because you see somebody skating the ramp all day and pretty much getting away with most of the falls, not getting too hurt, and then having the one big one happen. I think it could get way uglier than that, though. So I yet to see the worst, and I think death is possible, man. Of course.
A chilling hint of things to come.
I mean, it is. It's just, for sure.
I guess what's covered in the movie and what we're used to is you set goals in skateboarding and generally you achieve them. Maybe the one thing that, and I'm not sure how important that was to you, was the 900, which in Risk It, there's that classic cut to black. Well, actually, what happened after that? I've never seen.
Or if I would have rolled it away, I would have had it in there. For sure.
Oh yeah, I know, obviously. But what happened? Did you just bail to your knees after that?
I think I slid out or something. I was putting them down and just sliding out on the bottom.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with that, I think that was at a point where I think my mentality in skateboarding started to shift. And, there was in the 80s, the rotational spin was kind of like the progressional move on vert. Tony was the guy that was kind of leading that department. He was he was the first guy to do a 720. So when I was coming up, I, thought it was a lot more important to do spin tricks like that. Mm-hmm. And as I started to learn how to, street skate and as vert started dissolving, the vert scene started dissolving, I started thinking more and more like with my street mentality on the ramp. So, I started to feel like those tricks were becoming more of an older mentality for me.
Yeah.
Than, so I wasn't as motivated to accomplish that, I guess, for a completely vert-minded guys that skate vert, I think that trick probably has more relevance to them, but for me, I didn't think it really, served me at a certain point.
Yeah, so you'd sort of just moved
lost
on.
Interest in it,
Yeah.
There's way more things in skateboarding that I wanted to pursue than just waste my time. But it would have been good to have done it when I did. I should have done it when I did it, because it would have put out a lot of fires in the future.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and the thing that sucks now is it's turned, in all of skateboarding, how relevant is vert skating, and then how relevant is that portion of vert skating, It's the trick that gets the most mainstream recognition or the most media attention in skateboarding is the 900 or now the 1080. A trick that has no relevance at all in skateboarding, you know. You can't do a 1080 on to backsmith down the rail, or you're going to do a 900 down the double set, or, you know, it's like, but to people that don't know skateboarding, they can identify something with that. Like Tony Hawk did a 900, you know, they don't even know what the trick is, but now there's this little kid that did a 1080, and now all of a sudden he's all over the media, and it's a big deal. But how much of a big deal is it really in skateboarding? It isn't.
Yeah.
It means shit to us.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a few people on the vert ramp, it means something too, but in all reality, or in the big picture of skateboarding, like, you know, after the 720, what's different than a 900 and a 1080? It's the same trick with a half a more rotation.
Yeah.
It's a real creative progression there.
Yeah.
It's a very creative way to progress the sport.
It's actually bizarre how little, like, it was a YouTube clip on Facebook for a day, and which was amazing, but
yeah, no, it's just funny what, you know, what people attach to and what they think is important. You know,
yeah,
skateboarding is so much deeper than 900 and a 1080 at this point. You know.
Yeah, but yeah, again, it's easy for the.
Yeah,
you know,
and I'm sure it's an awesome trick to accomplish for certain people. It just doesn't serve me anymore.
In saying that, so how much does modern skateboarding like interest you, like magazines and videos?
Well, I don't, you know, I'm not trying to do it. I'm just trying to do what I feel like feels like instinctually right for me at this point. You know, it's just an evolution of what I've been doing, and I'm trying to do kind of similar to what happened when the vert scene started to disintegrate and street skating became relevant, and then it became, you know, normal to try and street skate on the ramp, you know. So I'm essentially just trying to apply the same mentality to the mega stuff now. I want to try and make it all universal so that, you know, whatever I'm doing, if it's tray flip, you can do it on a ramp, you can do it on the mega ramp, you can do it downstairs, you can do it, you know, like, those are the kind of things that interest me is universal skateboarding at this point, you know, stuff that people can relate to that don't skate the mega ramp. Even though it's on the mega ramp, they can still relate to it.
Yeah.
Do the same trick out here.
Yeah, that's why I thought the tray flip on the cover was super cool.
Flip, yeah.
Oh no, the actual, like, the mega ramp tray flip at Bob's.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, because it was like, that's a catch of a tray flip. Like, that's.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, that's kind of where I feel my heart's at and where my passion lies. Obviously, I love skating the mega size stuff because it's just more exciting, and once you get a taste of it, it's hard to go backwards. It's hard to skateboard after riding that thing. But if you look at all the, you know, how much influence that we put into vert skating over the years to implement the street style mentality, there's no reason it can't be applied to the mega size structures as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with it right now.
My last question, and maybe the film explains it, but do you ever wonder why you're Danny Way, and I don't mean the person called Danny Way, but why you're the guy hanging off the helicopter, or, you know, building this thing in Hawaii? Like, what drives you so much further than, like, normal people? And I know you're a bit taken aback by that question, but
yeah, I don't know.
No, but obviously you've had a unique life, and you've done a lot of, you know, what you do tends to be, you're the first person to do it.
Well, I don't think I'm the guy. I think I'm one of many guys trying to push our sport, but I definitely think that I've found my little path within it, you know, and everybody does. But, you know, I'm not, you know, trying to be the guy.
I'm not saying that, but, like, that sometimes, like, that you can't understand why everyone's not in the Shackle Me Not video. Yeah. There's a voiceover, and it says you can do anything.
Yeah.
You just got to spend time on it.
Yeah.
It's all in your head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do believe that. I mean, there's obviously some limitation on most everything at a certain point, but, you know, obviously my skateboarding vision has always been pretty broad as far as what I think is possible, and it's just been limited by resources most often. So, you know, as the skateboarding industry and resources have become bigger and greater, it's allowed me to, you know, experiment with my ideas more, and in return have, you know, some of these have given me good results that have led me to the next thing. So I really don't think I would have been able to progress this much in what I'm trying to do if I didn't have the support and obviously the resources to do so. And that came from creating businesses within the skateboard industry to be able to even do this, So it's quite interesting, the whole evolution of how I'm trying to accomplish the things I'm trying to accomplish. There would never be enough resources to do so unless I had to, create a business to drive the revenues and resources to be able to experiment with skateboarding.
But why are you the guy that wants to do it? Like, do you wonder why that's...
Why am I just love skateboarding, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do stuff they haven't done before.
Yeah.
And it's like anything, if you do it enough and you want to find, a repetition, if you do something too much, it gets boring. So I don't like to continue to do the same things over and over again. I love skateboarding enough that I will find something unique or new and interesting to experiment with, to keep it fun and to keep it exciting. So I'm still motivated to keep going. Without that element or component to it, I don't really care to do it,
Yeah.
If it becomes a repetition thing for me, I'm pretty much done with it.
Excellent. That's the answer I was looking for. Tom, man, thanks so much.
No worries.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed our interview with Danny Way. And as mentioned at the start of the podcast, highly recommend you check out Waiting for Lightning. It makes the interview sort of serves as a good bonus feature to watching the documentary, which I know is available on Amazon and probably plenty of other streaming services. It is a very compelling movie. And the link is in the show notes, as well as the visually enhanced version of this with plenty of Danny Way footage to go along with what Danny's talking about. So if you want to re-listen with that, click that on YouTube. Links in the show notes. And if you're enjoying the episode, the first episode went up last week with Dilruk Jayasinghe, a Melbourne comedian friend of the store. And this week we've got Danny, and after those two, you can tell the interview base is going to be pretty wide, but hopefully you enjoy the conversation each week. If you are shopping for some fresh sneakers or hoodie or t-shirt, please consider checking out theshorestore.com. We are getting new stock daily, and as mentioned in the mid-episode break, we currently have a mid-season sale with tees going out for $29.95, hoods for $49.95, sneakers from $49.95, and free shipping over $100, and also a bonus Shore t-shirt with any order over $100. Your business is so valued, so I appreciate it. And if you're just enjoying the podcast and want to lend us some support, get on iTunes and write a sweet 5-star review on our podcast listening. Hit like and subscribe if you are on YouTube, and if you're listening to the podcast, also hit subscribe so you get the episode as soon as it comes up. Thanks for your support of both the podcast and the Shore Store. Oh, we cannot wait to have you be able to visit our store again. But in the meantime, give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at The Shore Store. And we'll be back next episode with more good stuff.